trying to leave. And we saw what happened when we tried to leave. So we're looking at a woman where the system kind of failed her, because even if she went to the police, like at this point, she's probably seen him get away with so much. Then she's going to think, I'm not even a top superstar. I'm just a girl with one hit song. Who the hell is going to believe me over this mogul? And so when she said she was powerless, I believe that.
What up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg, joined my co-host, Buff and Razi. Fellas, take it away.
Well, first off, I want to say in my best Uncle Ruckus impression, guilty. That guilty.
Wow. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, past President Donald J. Trump is now a convicted felon. Does it change anything? No, not a thing. His supporters are still supporting him. He raised $34 million in 24 hours off the verdict. He is still running. He can't vote for himself, but he can still be the president.
They're trying to find a way around it. Even like his one vote is going to matter, but they're still. It's just they want to bend the rules.
Unless the only way he can do it is if Biden pardons him. Biden will have to do it because it's a felony.
I don't know.
No state can do it.
Something.
I don't. So, are you sure? Because I think all DeSantis has to do is make an exception for him, because like. There are some states where felons can't vote and some states where they can. And I know in Florida, DeSantis made it where convicted felons couldn't vote, but I think he can change it for Trump.
He can, but I thought they, like the law, now they own the legislature there. They could pass a law to do it, but they had to be they had to have completed their sentence to be able to get their voting rights back. Like he can't commute the sentence because it's a felony. And again, he probably is not going to jail. He's probably only going to be on probation. So I don't know.
Definitely
maybe he can. Maybe he can vote for himself. Whatever it is, we're in uncharted territory, folks. We don't know what's going to happen. But either way, we have a convicted felon that is going to be the Republican presidential nominee. So just want to throw that out there.
Did he show
better? Oh,
wasn't he supposed to meet with his like a probation officer or some probation summons or something like that? That would could have,
because he hasn't been sentenced yet. So not that I know of. And his sentence isn't until July, I think.
Yep, a couple of days before the Republican National Convention.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Merchant, since he's been pissing Merchant off, maybe Merchant will give him like 90 days in the slammer. It'll be great if he'd be like 6 months and just put it through January 1st. He said he's okay with
that, though.
Yeah, he probably will still win, even with that.
He said he's okay with it. He said he isn't off the country's okay with it.
Yeah, you know what that means, though. He's inciting another riot. So, with his little dog whistles. But on a better note, man, if you like HBO Max and Disney Plus and Hulu, Disney and WB Discovery are combining forces, and they are going to bring out a bundle with all three of them on it now because they are losing the streaming wars. Netflix is still eating their lunch. And so they're going to combine, and there'll be a single package with Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max on it. So not bad if you like those three for a bundle. I don't know what that would do for ESPN Plus. I know a lot of people have the Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus bundle, but they're trying to get everybody together.
It looks like they already
both of the services.
It looks like they already implemented it because I've seen a lot of like the Batman is now on Disney Plus, and the first Omen and a lot of stuff that was on Max is now on Disney Plus. So I don't know if that's I don't know if I have the full Max package, but I have some Max shows already on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of that. WB has figured out that Max wasn't working because if you look at Netflix, a lot of the WB stuff or a lot of the DC stuff went over to Netflix, and so they got all that. So they're trying to do whatever they can to like stem the tide because they're losing money hand over the fist on Max.
They have great shows, but the app is not a good functioning app. Like there are jokes about Max where if you miss your favorite part, you're scared to rewind it because the app is not. It's just not a good functioning app.
Yeah. There's that, and truthfully, the shows they're so sporadic, right? Like it's one of those services that I will get it for a season of something, and then after that, I don't need it anymore for 4 or 5 months. It's not like I'm going to Max every day or every weekend looking for something to watch. Versus a Netflix, I'll just jump on Netflix and look for something. I let it tell me what to watch, but can't do that on Max because they don't drop enough shows and they don't have a back catalog that I'm like, oh, I want to see that again for the 17 million time. So that, and for the gamers out there, my last thing, I want to let y'all know that Waffle House may be getting a board on Tekken 8 because everybody in the South started like tweeting the creator of Tekken and was like, you need to add Waffle House as a playable board in this fighting game. If anybody that doesn't know what Tekken is a fighting game, been around for a long, long time. And they're putting Waffle House as a board. And he didn't understand why. He was like, well, can y'all just explain to me why? And everybody kind of told him that they fight at Waffle House. That's what they do. So you should have it on Tekken.
They should have sent him videos.
Of all the fights. I think they did. And so he responded back and he was like, I get it. I don't own the IP, so we'll have to see what Waffle House says. So there's an option. There's a path to where we'll get Waffle House. And if we do get Waffle House, I'm buying Tekken 8 just so I can fight at Waffle House.
That's what big money people should do.
I mean, Tekken's a great fighting game anyway, though. I mean, King, man, Lee, we used to go hard. Panda, it goes hard.
Okay.
The only thing I have in addition to make sure you subscribe, Three Brothers No Sense, any podcast platform from Spotify to Apple Podcasts. It's no longer Google Podcasts. It's on YouTube Music, and they have a category for podcasts there. But subscribe. Also, check us out on Contentville, courtesy of Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. The only thing I have, man, is we've made fun of Black Girl Magic on here before, jokingly. But I want to give like a sincere, real shout out to some Black Girl Magic, man. Black women are killing it in sports right now. Like I already talked about Sha'Carri Richardson and how she's getting the endorsements, but she's doing it on the track too. Like she's winning these races now. Coco Gauff, who won her first major last year, the French Open is still going as we record, but man, she has been like blowing. Like even when she won the U.S. Open, it was taking her like 3 matches in order to win. She's like winning like 6-1, 6-2, like just blowing out the competition right now. So I hope she's able to keep that going. Angel Reese, the rookie for the Chicago Sky, leading the entire league in offensive rebounds. The game I watched yesterday, I think she had 10 rebounds. 8 of them were offensive rebounds. She's leading all rookies in total rebounds. And then Simone Biles, I mean, we already know what she can do. But for her to do what she did, take time off for her mental health, battle these so-called feminists who say they're for everything for women's choice. But when this woman tells you, hey, don't come for her husband like that, don't disrespect her husband like that, then y'all want to turn on her and say, well, we can't wait till y'all break up and we hope you fail. Yeah, that. She goes through all that and still killing it at the Olympics. Like, well, not at the Olympics, but the, what do you call them, the trials?
Nationals.
Yeah, the Nationals. She's killing it at the Nationals, and I hope she's able to do it on the Olympic level this summer as well. So
that's what's so crazy about the Simone Biles thing. I was kind of following it at one point in time, and I find myself getting very careful of what I read and watch on the news because I just get annoyed so easily with this. Not even annoyed, disappointed with the state of where we're at. Like beyond black and white and all this stuff and politics. It's just something as simple as Simone Biles. You're an advocate for somebody, and we talked about this on the show before. I could be an advocate. I can be an ally as long as I agree with you 100%. And that's so sad. It's, hey, this woman is saying,
and it's a reasonable request. Hey, that's the man I love. That's my husband. Could y'all not disrespect him? He said what he said. I don't have a problem with it, and I'm his wife. If I don't have a problem with it, can y'all be respectful and not come for him like you've been doing?
Yeah, but I think people have this idea, once again, of how things are supposed to work. And when you go against that, you are a villain. And it's just like, it was a whole comment about, I think, him saying he was the prize. Was that it?
He's the catch of the prize.
He's the catch.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
how dare he think he's the catch? He's a nobody.
I mean, the fact that only one person is allowed to say they're the catch.
That's what you talked about. You talked about that a couple episodes ago.
It's on like, hey, women can say this, men can't say this. Women, and it is what it is. So, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get deeper into this, but I just can't let this 34 felony convictions just go that easy. Like Razi, you said, do your Uncle Ruckus thing again, and can you multiply? I think you said it twice. Can you multiply the times 17? It's like 34 felony counts. That's serious. Now it's with a Class E felony. They're Class E felonies, so they're on the lower echelon of felonies. But when you just think about, Razi and I were talking about this, the Republican Party being the party of law and order, not allowing felons to vote. They want to crack down on crime, and it works until it works against you. The law and order, but now Trump is vehemently and viciously attacked. He went from attacking the news to the justice system. But if it worked in his favor, it upholds. It's strange.
And the sad part about it is his new attack lines may make headway into some black constituencies. Those felons now, if the Republicans soften that and they start trying to fight that and they go that way, be like, see, they gave Trump his voting rights back. They may use that as a line to be like, see, come vote for us. We'll do the same for you. Even though they fought against it for the last 17 years. We know they're hypocrites, but
yeah.
It can happen.
But we talked about this. This is, if I was Democratic candidate, I would ride that wave. I would hold my Republican counterpart opponent. So what is your stance on the voting rights for felons now? Why do you feel that felons shouldn't be able to vote? Do you not believe in law and order anymore? A convicted felon is not allowed to vote. So why is a convicted felon allowed to run for president? Do you support, how is that different? Oh, he was wrongfully convicted, but law and order, right? Like you're that person. Like they should, the down ballot should run with that. Like I feel like there should be some talking points. They should stress that. Hell, if they change voting rights, whatever, it's a win for the people. Like it shouldn't be a Republican or Democratic win. It's a win for the people to reinstate rights after criminal reform. After, I served my time. I did what I was supposed to do. Why can't I be reinstated, especially if it's a nonviolent crime? And then I was listening to something the other day, and it kind of made me think about Bill Clinton, because when he cheated, that whole, the perjury thing and all that stuff, and why it was such a big deal. Well, part of it, why it was such a big deal is because the UCMJ, right? And there, as a commander in chief, there are certain standards that you are, and Byron, you may be able to help me with this. I think between you and Razi, we can kind of get through it. There are certain standards and laws you have to abide by as the commander in chief, even though he's not officially part of the military. When it comes to being the commander in chief and having to fall under the UCMJ, how are you a convicted felon as the commander in chief? where under UCMJ you cannot serve in the military. So I don't know if that's something, another take. I don't know if it's not gonna make a difference on paper, but it's to put that thought process in people's head again. It's like we hold our soldiers, because we're pro military, to a certain standard, and the person that is supposed to be leading them, we hold to that same standard or a higher standard, except in this case, right?
Yeah, but what anybody is going to say is elected officials are a little different, because unless you put limitations on what they can do constitutionally, then or what they qualify for, or what qualifies them for the position, other than that, the people decide who they want to be their leader. And so all of that goes out of the window for elected officials. Like, the only thing that the Constitution says a president has to have is they have to be a citizen for 10 years and be 35. So that's generally it. Other than that, they can run and they can serve. So the weirdest part was the Secret Service was trying to figure out, if he did go to prison, how that would work.
What was the first one you said? You got to be a citizen for 10 years?
Yeah, I think that's you have to be an American naturally born citizen. Yeah, a naturally born citizen and lived here at least 10 years. That's what it is. So you can't go move and then move back, even if you're an American citizen. You have to live in the U.S. for at least 10 years. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's so crazy, because when we talk about the Constitution, and I'm not Constitution bashing, so often my thoughts are, things are left out because you just like, should we put in that if the president is convicted of a felony that he can't run? Dude, that would never happen. You're wasting paper. Like, it's like, you at this point, you have to put every single freaking, if the president gets caught a chicken, can he if you it's all these things you have to account for now, because it's a wide open game now. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. It's like, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that we had a convicted felon running for president, I thought it would be a joke. Like, same thing I ask all the time. How do we get here?
That's exactly it. I mean, I think the framers made it where the people would decide. And like Leanne said last week, right? Democrats feel like their strategy has worked, right? Like, Trump has been a loser, so we get all worked up, but maybe he loses this time too, and we're good, and we got worked up over nothing. Like, maybe the people are smart enough to be like, we don't want a felon. We don't want somebody that's doing this as our president to represent us on the world.
Byron, you look like you did not agree with.
Oh, because the framers didn't fully trust the people. That's why we had electoral college. They don't really trust the people. They knew America had a little bit of stupidity in it.
Not this stupid. With that being said, and Razi and I were debating about this as well, with the electoral college and electorates, do they have to make Trump the candidate at the Republican National Convention? Is there any way around that? Is this the unseen silver lining that they were looking for, where they can stand on the political party's stance on law and order and voting rights and stuff like that? It's like, hey, Trump, as much as we want to, we can't. Yeah, they're going to have a little backlash, but at the same time, this is their out.
So I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct on this, but like the conventions, that's slightly different from what we get in the presidential election with the electoral college. These, what do you call them? They're not electors at the convention. Are they electors?
I think they're electors.
I feel like it's another word. We'll go with electors though. But they can, at that convention, they can change. They would have to have a hell of a reason on why, but they could change. That's why they have to formally during the convention, do a roll call for each state and say, yes, we want to give this many to Trump. Remember when Clinton and Obama was going at it, and it was a big deal for her to, receive her votes or whatever, just so she could be the first woman to receive that many. And then she released them to Obama so he can officially become the nominee. So it's a little different as far as with the Electoral College. Once the Secretary of State certifies that, then I know it's a big deal. They make a big show out of it in Congress, like on the 6th when they was having people object. But it's a little murky on what the law says, because I believe Congress actually cannot overturn an election despite what 45 wanted to do. Once those Secretary of States certify, it's supposed to be ironclad. But like Razi said, or you said, we in uncharted territory. So
yeah, I just didn't know.
They're picking and choosing what they follow at this point, man.
Yeah, I think I feel like people are handing.
It's state by state as well.
Delegates.
Some states lock
that's
you.
the word at convention.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the Electoral College, so you have some states where they lock you in, right? They talk about the all or nothing states, and then the folks have to vote based on their county sometimes or the area that they're in. Then you have the super delegates, and they can vote however they want to. So it really depends on the state and how they actually write their laws.
That's for the actual election. We're talking about. I don't think that happens in the nomination though. I think it's a little different.
Yeah, because
maybe I watched too many episodes of. It reminds me of
House of Cards.
House of Cards and Secession, where they are basically. They are powers that be that feel that can move and shake who the next actual candidate is that they're putting on the ballot.
Yeah, the best example you could probably get is Chisholm. So if you guys haven't watched that, Shirley Chisholm, when she was trying to become the Democratic nominee, and she had all those electors and had that elector block there for the Democratic National Convention. So that's probably a good example of that. They can vote for whoever they think it makes the best candidate. So people are actually electing, or they're selecting their delegates to go talk to and actually say who is going to be the candidate there. So some states do it like that. And then with those delegates, those are the folks who actually select. So we probably need to get somebody on to kind of explain the electoral, not the Electoral College, but the delegate, from a national convention.
And maybe I'm overthinking it, which I do on a lot of things, but I'm like, that could be the silver lining. That could be their one, is the break they're looking for, because the pro-Trumpers aren't really pro-Trumpers. They are just pro-supporters. They want his blessing and his supporters, because they can't go against him. I hope and I believe that many of our elected officials aren't that brainwashed, but that's a whole other conversation.
The thing is, I think they know they can't win without his supporters.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If they did that and they didn't select him, those supporters would not stay home, or they would either stay home or they write in, and then you split that Republican vote and they can't win without him. So I don't think they do it, mainly because they're not going to win.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself. without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
All right. Well, let's jump into the show then, fellas. Do we have... Oh, Haley's... No, not Haley. Sophie's not here.
Sophie's not here right now. Let me see if I got a joke. Let me see if I got any good ones.
Don't feel obligated.
Nah, I don't have one. We can just jump into it.
All righty. Well, I mean, so we'll just jump into it. I mean, great joke, Razi. You got the same reaction as it would if you told one. So we're a little better for it. Who would like to go first, fellas?
That's messed up. I don't mind going first. Razi, what you got?
No, you go ahead. You go for it.
All right, so we kind of opened the show talking politics, so I'm gonna take a little turn. We all know about the video that came out a couple of weeks ago with Diddy beating down Cassie, and someone was discussing should she testify if she's called upon to do so. If he ever is charged with anything and has to go to court. And some people were like saying, no, she got her money. She's done with that. There's so much other evidence out there. Let them convict him on that. Do you guys think she has an obligation to, if she's called upon to testify, do you think she should feel obligated to testify against him and potentially put him behind bars so that he's not ever allowed to do this to anyone else? Or should she say, hey, look, I did what I had to do. I'm done with that whole situation. Don't ask me. I don't want to testify. I'm done. How do you guys feel about that? Her obligation towards that?
I'll jump in. I don't think anyone is ever obligated to testify, right? Like sometimes you just don't want to relive that. Sometimes you don't want, especially when you have like video evidence of it, right? Like, why do I need to testify when you have pictures of it, right? Type thing. I think it's one of those things that it's totally up to her whether she feels comfortable reliving it, retelling it, and all of that. It's not like it's a murder case and he might get off if she didn't testify, right? Type thing. Like she's the smoking gun. I think there is a little bit of an onus there on her. Like she does have a responsibility to the folks that lost their loved one or something like that. It's much different when it's a personal thing for her. And if she could have pressed charges then, right? If she's not pressing charges now, she shouldn't have to testify when somebody else brings up charges or something like that. That's not on her. It's not her responsibility to do that. So I don't think she should have to. But what I will say is at the same time, there is something to be said about making sure he doesn't do it again, right? We talked about the canceling and taking away people's platforms and speaking out. But again, she has that NDA now. She signed that. She got her money. That's the other part about it is to say she has to testify. That means that she's giving up that NDA and she might end up having to give that money back.
So I think I believe a subpoena would supersede that though. Like if she's subpoenaed, then the NDA doesn't count. But I don't even want to talk about it in that way. I'm just saying, like, personally, do you think she should feel obligated to do so just to protect other women or not?
I don't think so. I mean, it's domestic violence, right? He might not even get jail time. Right? That's the other part about it is what is she really protecting by him going on probation or maybe him doing 12 months in prison and that's it, and he gets out and he keeps all the money that he has and he still has all the power and the connections and everything else. It's like, I think she's done probably the most that she needs to do is, I told y'all back then it happened. Now y'all see the video. If you know Diddy is who Diddy is and you choose to go get with him after this, it's on you. I don't think she has any more responsibility from what she's already done.
So I guess like if there are other women that have occurred, you know, between the present and in the past that don't have the video evidence, and they're trying to get him on that, and like her testimony could help. Because he's already explained the video away. You know what I mean? He's already said, you know, I was in a dark place. They'll frame it as that was a one-time thing, but, you know, she can put a voice to what she had in that lawsuit as far as the individual abuses that she suffered throughout their time.
Go ahead, Ferg. You about to say something?
Okay. My thing's NDA aside. That's where we have to start. Like, if there's no ramification for the money, and then even then, you know, how much is your soul worth, right? Like, you know, people talk about they can't, you know, there's a price for everything. My only objection to her not being obligated is if mentally, like, especially like if a trained professional saying, hey, we've gone past it, this is going to cause more harm than good for her, like for her self-protection. If it's just like, man, I don't want to talk about it no more, that's another thing, you know, because we talk about the severity of DV. Like, we talk about DV, it's bad. But when you get your money, you don't got to talk about it. You got to protect your, like, at what point are you socially or morally obligated to other people as well, as long as it's not causing any further harm to you? You know, it's like, if there's anything I can do to put the nail in the coffin to make sure this doesn't happen again, to make sure he gets the full extent of his law punishment, because he has money, he will have the best attorneys, he's going to fight this, and all he has to do is make, you know, hung jury or whatever the case may be, and he's free. So if there's anything I can do to make sure, because you mentioned, you know, I see if it was like a murder trial, yeah, but that sister, that brother, that niece, daughter, or whoever that was harmed by his actions, to them, a part of them died. A part of it is almost as bad as death for people who were raped or abused. Like, to them, it's maybe the next worst thing to death. So to just kind of write it off and just say, well, but did she die? You know, is kind of downplaying it. And it's your obligation, if you want to say domestic violence is wrong, we need to attack it. She should say something. It might be uncomfortable, and it's going to be uncomfortable, right? Like, it's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm saying if it's like detrimental or it's going to send her down a downward spiral or a dark place, I get that. But at a certain point, you know, yeah, the video, because it's great. Well, the video's there and all this stuff happens. He lawyers it up and finds a way around it. Could her testimony have been the one missing link? And if she testifies and doesn't happen, to me, I want to be able to sleep and say, I did everything I could to make sure that he was punished, that he got the full extent of the law. Like, if not, then you're like, you know, shit happens. And then we should all just be able to take a shit happens approach, because how is this different from anybody else withholding crucial evidence that can get somebody convicted? You know, that police officer who saw his partner kill the black man or rape somebody, you know, at what point do they need to step up? If we're telling people that they need to step up when something's wrong and talk about it, then you got to step up and talk about it. So, Razi, you like you was about to do a rebuttal?
No. I mean, it was a good point. I think, like you said, I feel like it makes sense, but again, it's protecting that peace bubble, right? I don't want to put her in that situation where she is like up there crying telling the story, and like you say, going down this downward path or a downward spiral to do that if it's not a linchpin, right? Like there's levels to it. And so that's why I don't put that obligation directly on her, like, oh, she has to testify. I think it's at a certain point where it's like you say, it's, hey, if we don't get your testimony, he's probably going to walk. That is a little different than, we just want you to add in as a character witness to say that this is a pattern and we need that to be like that. That's a little different. And so I want to add that gray in there to just be like, it's not she has to testify no matter what. It really is how comfortable she feels in.
So just to be clear, if it is a testimony that would determine, and this is hypothetical, but if it is a testimony that will hypothetically determine his innocence or guilt, you think she should or shouldn't testify?
Yeah, I think she should at that point. I mean, that's very different than, like I said, you got the video, or, we're lining up 7 people to talk and we just want you on there too because you're the most well known, and we just need you to go again and say it again. Like that's different. So the testimony, the need of the testimony, I think matters too.
And I think, but sometimes overkill is a good thing. Like it's leaving no stone unturned. If this was a black cop that killed somebody, we want everybody in the neighborhood, even though it was like, it's snitches get stitches. Like we want people to come forth and do the right thing when it benefits us. It's, hey, unless it's going to cause some serious physical or mental harm, you're going to go through it. Most people that testify when they're close to an event, there's some discomfort. Officers that testified at, January, they're reliving certain traumatic experiences that, do you care enough about the end result to kind of go through that? That's my thing. Is it worth it to you to have to go back to therapy for a little while, or get a little pet or something, to get you through this, because at the end of the day you really want to see justice? Or because it, and I'm not trying to villainize her at all, but I mean, they can easily say, see, his attorneys can say, see, it was about the money. It was always about the money. It wasn't that serious. She didn't care, and put it back in her court. Like, if my client was that bad, then this lady would have said something. She took her money, and apparently her money is enough for her not to. It wasn't that bad, So
here's what made me ask this question. She made a post. Matter of fact, it was her last post. She made a post last week when she finally even, addressed this subject. And she wrote, I'm reading halfway through, "Thank you to everyone that has taken the time to take this matter seriously. My only ask is that everyone open your heart to believing victims the first time. It takes a lot of heart to tell the truth out of a situation that you were powerless in. I offer my hand to those that are still living in fear. Reach out to your people. Don't cut them off. No one should carry this weight alone." And she, says thank you after that. And I read that post and I'm like, wow, it almost sounds like she's kind of willing to help if need be. And I guess to answer my question, I'll say this, because I like the scenario Razi brought up, and we're going to go with the hypothetical. If it comes down to her testimony, it's going to be the difference on whether or not he goes to jail. I'm going to say I think she should, but nobody can fault her if she decides not to. And I say that because you're looking at a woman, the hotel had evidence. They accepted $50,000 to get rid of it, to sell it to him and not say anything. You're looking at the times she did leave him. She left him a couple of times, and he found out where she lived and forced his way in the apartment. And this is all allegedly, but she has so much credibility now when you look at what's in her lawsuit, and then you look at exactly how that video played out. But she says she came to his house and her house and broke in and raped her. We saw in that video, that was her literally trying to leave. And we saw what happened when we tried to leave. So we're looking at a woman where the system kind of failed her because even if she went to the police, like at this point, she's probably seen him get away with so much. Then she's going to think, I'm not even a top superstar. I'm just a girl with one hit song. Who the hell is going to believe me over this mogul? And so when she said she was powerless, I believe that.
Yeah, I do.
And so for us to all of a sudden say, hey, you're compelled to go testify. I get if she says, you know what? Nah, I want to be completely done with this situation. But
yeah. I just go back to the Diddy situations, the R. Kelly situations. It's because of the power they have. It's going to take a lot. There had to be a documentary. There had to be multiple people. There had to be, like, everybody knew R. Kelly married Aaliyah. It was public knowledge. It's at what point there's strength in numbers, right? Now, if she's the only person that's going to testify and is not going to move the needle, then that might be a different conversation, but her video, her being the person that kind of sparked a lot of this, the video evidence, if this is the thing that's going to seal the deal, I agree with you. I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have sisters, I don't want them to go through that. And I'm not saying I can, just like with a woman's body, we can't make that decision for them. But at a certain point, you have to say, hey, how bad do you want this to stop? How bad are you dedicated to, no matter what, seeing this through? It's going to be tough. Razi said, if it, getting on the jury stand, I would be surprised if she didn't break down. That was probably a super traumatic experience in her life. Yeah, and on top of just being on the stand, you got to think social media. His trolls are coming after her. Like, witness tampering is real, right? Like, he's gonna have some boys that's just so happens to be at places she's at, stuff like that. Like, all of that is what she's probably thinking in her head. But that's
like
how he got away with it, though.
She's seen, that is how you got away with it. But she's got to think about, am I gonna feel safe doing this, right? Like, that's another part of it. It's not just how bad I want it. It's like, do I feel safe that I'm going to do it and nobody's going to come after me? I'm not going to end up, in a ditch somewhere, 2 months from now type thing. Like, she has to worry about all of that.
That's why I started with physical and emotional. Like, it's physical. Like, are you safe? But at a certain point, like, not a certain point, if you think about it, this is how he got away with it. And it said, like, he's going to, or people like him continue to get away with it because of intimidation and stuff like that. And it's numbers. It's a numbers game. You got to come. It takes a strong survivor to put it down. So whatever happens, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And he has way more cases than just the domestic violence and all this stuff. It's going to be, so he's probably going to jail. Maybe he won't go to jail for that or get as much time. But I think with all the stuff they're trying to pin on him,
he's got trafficking, sexual assault, rape. Like, he's got a lot.
So, I want to go. I had a question. It's weird. I forgot what I was watching.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. Build your fits of the day with Abercrombie's newest denim drop. Here's where to start. Abercrombie's 90s straight jean goes with any shirt from tees to sweater polos. Super versatile. Their loose and baggy jeans are more trend forward, so you can grab those and go out with your friends. Abercrombie's denim fits come in a range of washes. Build your looks around Abercrombie denim. Shop online or in store.
This is going to be a very weird question. Yeah, I forgot, what movie was I watching? I can't remember what it was, but essentially it's, how like in movies and books or something like that, you have the hero or whatever that has this one special skill that kind of helps them along the way. So it might be a bad habit or skill that something like they're a card shark. They're really good at 3-card money. They can hotwire a car. They can do something that's just like, how did he learn how to do this? You know, and if he didn't know how to hotwire a car, they wouldn't have been able to get away from the monster or whatever the case may be. Or the bad guys. If you had to have a bad habit or a unique special skill that was looked down upon, what would that skill be? You know, would you want to be a card shark? You know, learn how to hotwire a car? I forgot. This is just random things. You know, what would that skill be?
Hands down, I want to be the driver. I want to be the badass driver that when y'all run it out, you know, and y'all jump in, y'all throw the bags in the back of the car, and like we like the police chasing us, and I'm doing like the transporter turns and like going under, hopping over like the stoplights and stuff like that, like straight Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, right.
Or like, yeah, I want to be that. I want to be able to do that.
You turn to some bad guys. I don't even want to be a villain. I'm just saying, like, we just all of a sudden in a real life scenario, you just need. Now, maybe we had to rob a bank because somebody's holding somebody hostage, and we had to bring them $500,000 and $250 million in 2 days, and we had to rob several banks or whatever. That's cool, you know. But it's like, hey, let's go rob a bank. I want to be the good way driver.
Well, like you said, it's an unused skill, right? But it's an unsavory skill. Yeah. Like street racing is an unsavory skill. We just passed a law in Birmingham to be able to lock up onlookers for street racers. So if you just go to the street racing event, you can get locked up. So like, it's a big deal here to be able to do that. I have street raced in the past. I'm not going to lie and say I haven't. But I'm not as good as some others. And so, yeah, that is an unsavory skill that I would love to have. And whatever, if we're running from the police, we're running from the bad guys. Maybe we're the good guys and the bad guys are chasing us and I got to outrun them, you know? So I don't know, but that's fine.
Let me drive. No, Raz, I got it. Let me drive. You pull out the driving gloves just randomly.
The driving gloves. Yeah. Throw on a SWAT CD and go for it.
No, we gotta go. Give me a second. You do donuts in the parking lot real quick and peel out.
I'd want to pick locks and safes.
That was one of the ones I had.
I wanted to be like no safe in the world that I can't crack. No lock that I can't pick. Yeah.
Okay. That's hilarious. We get just a lock or safe or both.
Both. Oh, both. Yeah, okay. Definitely both.
So we get arrested in a Mexican.
We
get arrested in a Mexican, falsely arrested in a Mexican prison.
Yeah,
and then talking about killing the nigga.
Yeah, just give me a paper clip.
MacGyver Buff MacGyver.
A paper clip and a fingernail file. I got this.
And you just pull out your sock. Like
I can't imagine.
I always keep this on me. Like, where'd you get this?
I can't imagine.
How'd you learn this?
Like a tough ass lock. Like the satisfaction of hearing that click. Like I imagine. Lock pickers, that's got to be so satisfying. Like, just one more second, got it.
So, that's hilarious. Once again, my mind goes to this being in a movie, and we're trying to get into something, whatever, lock or whatever, and it's like, where did he get a stethoscope from? Like, you just all of a sudden, like, I got this, fellas. It's like, shh, what is he doing? Shh. Voila. Oh man, I don't know what mine will be. I guess we got a driver, we got a master locksmith.
You'd be a hacker.
That was gonna be a hacker.
Yeah.
You know,
or Ferg, you did show choir and stuff. Master of disguise. I can see Ferg like being the person that goes in intel.
Black
like,
people can't be masters of disguise. We just stand out too much.
Yeah. Hey, have you not watched Lupin? Lupin on
Netflix. His disguise looks so horrible. He always looks the same.
Me bad, though.
You're a very unique looking person. It's like, how do you not know this 6'5" black dude is, master disguise,
the master thief.
I thought about pickpocket. Like, I've seen so many movies where, it's
that's pretty good.
Like we're trying to figure something out. Like, man, we just need the key. this key. So it was between pickpocket and hacker, but I think I'll go with pickpocket. Sleight of hand. Just be like really good with a sleight of hand. Like, dog, thanks for the key. What happened to the key? Talking about this key? Like, dog, stop doing it. Stop doing what? This key?
Yeah. Okay, so that's based on what we want to do. If we were building a like heist team out of our friend group, who would everybody be?
Wendell would be the getaway driver. I feel like Allison and Tabitha would be good distractors.
Would you be security?
I would do something.
Would you be the?
I would do something with security.
Yeah, you.
Sherman and Ferg, y'all need to be kind of like, y'all are like the action. Y'all are the muscle. You know what I mean? Razi, you shut down the cameras in the security system. And Fino is kind of like, Fino is kind of like, he's our lookout, but he's blending in. Like he's like, if we're talking about a bank, he's one of the customers already in the bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So making sure nobody tries to be a hero and stuff.
Okay.
Like somebody like one of us slipping and one of them about to like catch us and he like, don't you do it.
I think
So I had Mike at security. So I had Bruce would be like doing the security, the cameras and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I had Wendell as our fabricator. Because, some reason you never can have this a stock like getaway car or whatever. It's got to have some special stuff on it and all of that. So I had Wendell doing the fabrication stuff. And then, of course, I wanted to be the driver again. But that was my... But I'm with you on like everything else on it.
Well, we got to throw Hooli, Mark in there. So tell Sherman he to get back to right and write SWAT, whatever the number is right now. SWAT 11.
Hooli could be our inside guy.
Hooli would be the inside guy.
Yeah.
Hooli would. Hooli and Marquise could be the inside guy. Like they could be brothers that get it. They're the distraction. They get into it. They argue all the time. So people just never
know everything about it.
Yeah. So it's two security cameras on this end. The guards check out at 12:02. Take a break at 12:02. Return at 12:18 on the dot every day. Yeah.
I like it.
We need to do
We actually may have time for a third one. Razi?
All right, let's wrap this thing up because I don't know what's going on with my computer.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead and close it on out then. We got two good questions in. Well, one good question and my question in.
Nah, man, it was fun.
Yeah, I was always thought about that. Like if I had that skill, what would it be? But let's go ahead and close it on out. What you got?
Only thing I got, man, is if you think you're having a day, it can't be than South Korea because North Korea is literally filling balloons with excrement and letting it float to South Korea and then dropping the excrement on South Korea. So can you imagine just walking down the street and a big pile of poop like just drops on you out of nowhere? Not like so if you're listening and you think you had a bad day, just think about South Korea and somebody just got a big pile of poop dropped on their head from North Korea. So that's all I got, man. I just wanted to kind of share that.
Quick episode today. All I got is I mentioned Angel Reese at the top of the show. This week I will get to see the Chicago Sky in person as they play the Washington Mystics up here this Thursday. So I'm looking forward to seeing her. And Camila Cardoso is back. She made an impact in her first game back, even though they lost by 1 point. So it's an up and coming team. They're like at 3-4, I think, right now. So they're kind of like a 500 team. But I'm just excited to see them and see how much they grow. So I'm excited about that. Also, want to wish Razio, it'll be your birthday Tuesday. Happy birthday, bro! Welcome to Club 43. You know, step on in that thing, man. I want everybody to know too. Razio, he's playing hurt. He's sick. Okay. But he still wanted to do the show, man. So I hope you guys just appreciate what we do, because it's hard as hell to get 3 different schedules, 2 different time zones, 3 different cities to align to record. So like having Leanne on last week was extra hard, because then that brought in a 4th person. So I appreciate.
Yeah, we had to cater to her schedule.
Yes. So
availability. Yeah.
I hope people, the people that listen to the show, I hope you guys really not only like and enjoy the content, but just really appreciate that it's important to us to put a new episode out there every week as much as we can, because we enjoy doing it. So make sure you subscribe, man. Like I said at the top of the show, Inspire You on Air, Contentville, any podcast platform from Apple Podcasts to YouTube Music, Spotify, iHeart Radio, 3 Brothers No Sense. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter and YouTube.
Yep.
X.
Yep.
Yeah. X, formerly known as Twitter.
I agree with you. Please follow us. Shout out to Contentville. I was actually gonna segue when you're saying talk about our content. I was gonna shout them out, but Contentville, Inspire You on Air, and that whole family. Thank you guys for everything you do for us. We really appreciate it. I had a couple of things that I didn't talk about at the top of the show, but I really want to get off my chest. Anybody looking for any good shows? Well, I'm trying to get more into anime because my lamplighter's like anime. So Black Clover is pretty good. It came out with season 3. I'm finishing up season 1. I'm excited. I'm Team Asta right now. The second one is Blood of Zeus. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It was a limited series, came out with a couple episodes, season 1, but they're starting season 2. Z is watching that with me, so we went back and started watching season 1 because it was a lot that happened. Really good show. And that's it. I got a couple more shows, but I'll leave it at that. I'll bring that up next week. Want to say, I think, belated happy birthday to my son. Congratulations once again. He finished pre-K, went to had graduation. He's a big boy now. Gets ready to start a big boy school. So proud of you, TJ. And I was home back at the Port City this weekend. Got to spend time with my family. Unfortunately, for a reason that we know all too well, we lost my uncle, Oscar L. Ferguson Senior. Always been a huge personality in our family. Jokester, we miss you're loved. Thank you for bringing the family together. Unfortunately, once again for these circumstances, you were a great father, great husband. You'll be missed, and my condolences go once again to his immediate family with his wife and kids and his siblings. My mom has lost 3 siblings in a little more than a year. And so I just my heart goes out to all her brothers and sisters and the children of those, my cousins. Loss is never easy. Seek help if you need it. To anybody that's lost, seek help if you need it, professional help if you need it. And remember, there's no award for trying to be tough. It hurts. Grieving is a process. Get it around your loved ones. Get help. You don't have to do it alone. Once again, there's no award for being tough. 3 Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.